guys, welcome back for another video. In 2020, I was really surprised on how many people asked me about actuaries and actuarial science. A lot of my coaching clients were talking about wanting to pursue careers as an actuary. Most of the time they wanted to discuss with me the differences between a career as a financial analyst versus a career as an actuary. So I thought this would be a very beneficial video for you guys. When I was in college, I didn't even know what an actuary was. And I didn't learn what an actuary did until I made friends with people who were actuaries. I do have a handful of friends who are in the career of being an actuary. I was able to ask them lots of questions and get more insight on the career as a whole and to share with you guys. If you're unfamiliar about what an actuary is, most of them work in insurance. Like 90% of them work in insurance, and then some work in the general finance field. And there's some people who go on and make their own careers as actuary consultants. I had a friend write down his best explanation on what an actuary does, so I'm going to read it out to you guys. The actuary's duty is to collect and interpret large amounts of data, making sure that it's factual so you can use the data and the patterns found in it to be able to use it to create models. And in the case of insurance, determining what variables affect how insurance policies are priced. You are using the data to make future predictions. It sounds pretty close to what a financial analyst can be responsible for doing. Financial analysts work in many different fields, not just insurance. Most of the people who come to my channel are typically interested in high finance careers. However, I also get people who are just interested in making their way into the industry no matter where it falls. So I'm going to be comparing actuaries to financial analysts in high finance and also just typical corporate finance financial analysts. I'm sure the number one thing people want to compare as far as these two different careers is how much money can you make in each career. In the first year of being an actuary, you can typically make $60,000 to $80,000 depending on what company you work for and what city you live in. For a high finance analyst, your first year, typically if you start your career as a financial analyst, as an investment banking analyst, your first year's salary is typically around $100,000 base salary, and then you get a bonus on top of that. Now, a bonus isn't 100% guaranteed every single year. It really depends on what happened that year for the company that you work for, but more years than not, you do get a bonus, and the bonus typically for first year analysts is about $50,000 on average, which is about 50% of what your yearly salary is. Actuaries can expect a bonus of 5 to 15% of their annual salary. Now, corporate finance analysts, their first year salary could be usually around $45,000 to $55,000 a year. Not every single company offers their financial analysts a bonus. It really depends on the company, and the bonuses that the corporate finance analysts can expect is typically around the same as actuaries, 5 to 15%, just depending. Negotiation goes a long way each year when you get raises and you get to talk to your bosses and negotiate your worth. Most of the actuaries that I know, they're currently in the $100,000 to $150,000 a year range currently, and most of them have 5+ years of experience so far. To become a fully certified actuary, you have about 9 or 10 exams you have to pass. As you pass these exams, the more you can make, and when you become a fully certified actuary, you can typically see a salary around $250,000 a year because you are a fully certified actuary. Now, as far as the cream of the crop goes, as far as actuary salaries go, chief actuaries can see salaries of $1 million a year. Now, does every actuary go and become that? Obviously, no. So if you're interested in this career, don't go into it thinking, I'm gonna make $1 million a year, I can become a chief actuary. Now, for financial analysts in high finance, people who build their careers typically in investment banking They do 2 to 3 years as a financial analyst. They might go take a sabbatical in private equity. Some people go to hedge funds, some go to venture capital, some stay in investment banking their whole entire careers. But mid-career figures for people who climb the ladder in high finance is typically around $300,000 to $500,000 a year. Once again, depending on what company you work for, what city you work in, etc. Corporate finance mid-career salaries typically look around $75,000 to $100,000 a year. So if you're trying to decide between a career as an actuary and a career as a financial analyst, what do you need to know to sway you in one way or the other? I would say actuaries, they need to have stronger math skills than people even in high finance. You have to have very strong statistics skills, calculus skills. Actuaries also need to be strong in Excel. Actuaries also need to have pretty wide knowledge of economics and finance to be successful in their field. As far as education goes, to be recruited as an actuary, you typically need to have one of 4 or 5 degrees. You could have an actuarial science degree, which not every university offers an actuarial science degree. You have to check your catalog that your university has and see whether or not it does have an actuarial science major. You can also get recruited as an actuary if you have an economics degree, a statistics degree, a finance degree, and sometimes an accounting degree. To be recruited in finance, you typically either have a finance degree, economics degree, sometimes an accounting degree, and high finance likes to recruit people who have engineering skills. So various different engineering majors can get into finance, computer science majors can break into finance, and also chemistry and physics majors can break into finance. Let's compare work weeks for actuaries and financial analysts. Most of the actuaries that I know, they typically work between 40 and 60 hours a week depending on the week. But the thing that takes up a lot of their time each week is studying for the actuarial exams. Each exam, usually it's recommended that you study around 200 hours for each exam. And most of the people I know, they only take 1 or 2 of the exams per year. And what I have seen is that they study for a good at least 10 hours per week, but some of my friends study about 20 hours a week for these exams. So, that's an additional chunk of time that you are spending. So you're looking at 60 to 80 hours a week dedicating your time to your career as an actuary. High finance people are typically working 80 to 100 hours a week, and not all of them are studying for any advanced exams to advance their careers in high finance. Once you get your foot in the door and you continue to work hard, it's more about spending your time there and I'll say sowing your seeds to continue to climb the ladder of success. Finance is the type of career where if you set up yourself for success in the very beginning, aka you got into a top school, you have high grades, you networked, and got yourself good internship experience and got recruited into a company, then you're pretty much set the rest of your career as long as you show up and continue to perform well. Actuaries, they get into one of those target majors that I previously mentioned. They have, good enough grades, and they need to pass the first 2 actuarial exams typically to be recruited into an actuarial role. Typically, people who are dead set on becoming an actuary, they will take those first 2 actuarial exams while they're still in school so that they can be recruited their senior year or right after graduating from undergrad. If you're somebody who has decided to pursue actuary science as a career, I highly recommend you take the test prep from analystprep.com. I have a link down below. You can go and check it out. I highly recommend getting that done while you're still in school so you can start a full-time job right after graduating. Corporate finance people typically work 40 to 50 hours a week depending on, once again, the company they work for and what time of year it is, what's happening in the company. When I talk to my actuarial friends about what they didn't like about the field or what they would have chosen as a different career if they could go back in time. The things that they told me was if they could have chosen a different career, it would have been a career in data science because, you know, they're already doing things that are very math and science based. And if they had gotten a career as a data scientist, they could have gotten a higher salary to start off with and had shorter work weeks without having to pass all of those actuarial exams that take such a long time to complete. To pass all of the actuarial exams, it can take 6 to 10 years to become a fully certified actuary. A friend of mine said that the profession as a whole is having a hard time keeping up with technology, and that programming is not a formal part of the academic syllabus for actuarial science majors. He was an actuarial science major. He has a bachelor's degree in actuarial science and a master's degree in actuarial science. If you're somebody that really enjoys coding, enjoys data as a whole, I highly recommend that you go and become a computer programmer, a software engineer, or a data scientist. If you don't have strong math and science skills, you're really not going to have a good time becoming an actuary. People who get into finance don't typically need to have the highest math and science skills ever. I have a video kind of covering that. I'll link it up here, talking about how much math and finance there is. There are a lot of interesting opportunities as far as being an actuary is concerned. One of my friends who is an actuary is currently working in Bermuda. He works for a life insurance company, and it's a pretty cool opportunity because you get paid like double what you would get paid in the States, and you get a housing stipend to pay for the very high cost of living that Bermuda has. And a lot of people that I know who work in Bermuda for various insurance and finance companies, they tend to save as much money as possible just because you're getting paid so much more to be in Bermuda. If you're somebody that does not like to take exams, you are not going to enjoy pursuing a career as an actuary. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them down below and I will get back to you. If you're not already subscribed, you better hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you around in another one of my videos. Bye.